Computer. Okay. All right, now we're going to share again, and we're going to desktop. And we're going to, Lance, you're a walk-on. Why don't I let you go home, okay? So I'll take you first instead of on the, at the end of the agenda. So is that okay with you, Carol? Because he's a walk-on guest. Okay, here's the agenda. Let's move me out of the way. Okay, this is the agenda tonight. We have our guests, are Carol Mitchell and from the neighborhood support team. And also we have George Horshka, who is also from neighborhood support. Anybody else from neighborhood support? No? Okay, but I wanted particularly to welcome Lance Jones, who is the project manager for FDOT on a number of projects that we're working on 17th Street. Would you like to just come on up and introduce yourself, Lance?
Yes.
While I get some photos up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lance. As Marvin said, my name is Lance Jones, and I'm a project manager for the Florida Department of Transportation. And I guess today I'm here to discuss the project that we have going on with the 17th Street Bridge pavement markings. It was understanding, it was brought to our attention by Ms. Maryland that,
And us, all of us,
and
yes.
I guess everybody that the current existing striping was kind of unsafe for bicyclists. And it was best to maybe be restriped, but before that we had an epoxy overlay, but that project did not address that. But thanks to the members of the community, we was able to get this pavement markings issues resolved, and currently it's in progress. We're currently going to restrike the pavement markings, that way we have a little buffer area between the cyclists and the vehicles.
Everybody know what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for some reason, the bike lane is close to the car lane, and then there's a whole lane over here, which is, could have been a buffer. So they're, bless them, gonna flip that.
Yeah.
And they're gonna put the bikes closer to the railing, and they're gonna put the buffer between the cars and the bikes.
Makes too much sense.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And they looked at it and they said, yeah, geez, that makes sense, let's do that. So I wanted Lance to come and take a bow. You say it's in, absolutely.
It's actually in process now. They started, I think last night they eliminated the second stripe, the inside stripe. They eliminated that, and now they're gonna
They took that one out.
yes, last night, and now they're in the process of repainting. So hopefully, within the next month or so, it could be complete.
All right. Well, we want to thank you again, and we're looking forward to coming back at a more a formal meeting to talk about the progress on the repaving of the street. Remember, we had that presentation about a year ago? How's it going? Are we in design yet?
Well, actually, that project was due to funding. That project was pushed out to fiscal year 28.
Oh, that's good because the convention center will be open.
Yeah, I think that was all taken into consideration.
Right, okay. Well, again, thank you, and I want to take a photograph because this is a momentous moment. Can we take a photograph with you by the group? Yes, absolutely, but first I need to. Why don't you just stand back there with the group? This is Lance Jones at the Harbordale Civic Association. And he's got his Target bag. Drop the Target bag.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Everybody smile. Okie dokie, we're done. Oh, yes, if you have questions for Lance, I'm sure. What's your question, Mark?
So, we had conversation before about the FDOT bridge.
That's right.
I'm concerned about the bike stuff on top of the bridge. I'm concerned about what's under the bridge.
The drainage, yes, that's been looked at.
Drainage is an issue. I looked at it today. It's still horrendous. The drainage system is completely shot. There's cracks in the bridge. There's beads that are in parts of the bridge that is taken up. And so the answer was for maintenance was to come and put expandable foam in the crack. The beads found another way around it. So there's an active hive in there. That's one thing. But my concern is because I exercise, I walk that bridge. So question, here's the picture. Is this a pedestrian walkway only with no bicycles? So once you get that fixed, on the outside with the buffer and all that are bicycles, including e-bikes, electric e-bikes, and scooter bikes are all gonna be on the outside, or is it strictly for pedestrians? Because I've gotten tagged at 40 miles an hour by an e-bike
Mhm.
going down pedestrian.
I mean, this it's designed for pedestrians, but like I said, we can't control it. The bicyclists, sometimes they might feel safer, but like I said, with the restricted system, they might feel safer now, like riding on the outside, but
I know that there are seniors that ride their pedal bikes that are afraid to death to get into the lanes, regardless of how well they may be striped in the future. But I guess my question is what is for bicycles and what's for pedestrians? And is there gonna be any signage that states that
yeah, inside of the rail is strictly for pedestrians, but
it's used all the time by
it's used for
bicycles?
bicyclists.
That's because the bike lanes are so unsafe.
Well, that's the thinking was that if you made the bike lanes safer by making a buffer between the cars, you would encourage more of the bikers to get off of the pedestrian walkway and into the bike lane. I think signs is a great idea.
Yeah, that's another thing, signage gonna, with the triple R, with the resurfacing budget, signage is gonna be addressed this issue.
That's gonna say bike lane this way?
Yes.
Oh.
We're not gonna say like bike lane this way, but we're gonna like evaluate the signing and kind of see what makes sense, like maybe like put like a sign that say like, this is for bike lane, this is for pedestrians.
Or how about a bike with an X through it on the walkways? I leave it up to your judgment. I'm sure you guys have been thinking about this.
When I walked it today,
Yeah.
a very loud, straight piped motorcycle,
Mhm.
there it is.
Was on the walkway?
He's in the bicycle lane.
So.
Oh, he's not supposed to be in the bicycle lane. He's supposed to be in the car lane.
There, and the scooters, the electric
Traffic was backed
scooters.
up.
Oh, so he just,
They think it's for, so the motorcycles go down the middle between the bikes, or they take the emergency area.
yeah.
They think It's not, there's no sign that says they can't do that.
Hey,
That's the
we
law.
rode a
It's
bicycle.
ticketable offense, they're not allowed to do that. If we see it, we do write them.
Right.
All spring break long, the motorcycles were trying to get around the spring break traffic and our motorman had a tent. I think they wrote 4,000 tickets. So
Wow.
I don't know if they were all just for the motorcycles, but I was standing with them every day and they'd see them there.
Yeah, City Fort Lauderdale Police get some relief from FDF, from state troopers.
Do we have any connections to the state troopers?
Well, the state troopers for what? To patrol our streets?
It's their street, it's an FDOT street, it's.
Oh, but like 17th Street Causeway, like if I'm driving over that bridge and there's a motorcycle in that lane, I have every authority in the world to pull that person over and give them a ticket. We don't have to have FHP do it.
But FHP can get a ticket anywhere in the state. I'm
Mhm,
surprised why we can't partner with them to do some stuff.
I mean, we could certainly ask them. I don't know on their availability if they will come to 17th Street. They're generally on the interstates.
2 months ago, I was at the Ferrari thing.
Mhm. I don't know what Ferrari thing is.
It was
They
a,
escorted, right down the street, they escorted about 50 Ferraris up to Palm Beach.
Mhm.
There had to have been 25 state troopers
Yeah,
that were helping these people escort. But that's the only time you ever see a state trooper in this area.
yeah,
Is when they're helping out.
you're
the
not gonna
rich
see
folks.
them,
But,
yeah.
but it seems to me like they should police on FDOT road.
not gonna happen. Don't get yourself in a tizzy over it. It's not gonna happen. FPNL is, the Highway Patrol is not gonna help out Fort Lauderdale,
Not
in
the
any
stop
kind
it.
of, except for immigration, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Okay, another question for Lance, and then we can let him go home.
You know, I don't know what they use to cover the bridge and the walkway, but I love it. It's like a softer.
It's really hard to ride your bicycle on.
Really, I love, I mean, I love it. It's like softer.
And it's quiet,
And it's quiet.
quiet.
Is that what it is? I would never have thought of. Is that just for the bridge, or do you think that other streets might get that, or?
I mean, we used it for like this bridge, but that's case by case, like, I'm not really like a structural engineer, so it's like, they use it on certain bridges.
With just bridges?
Maybe because it's less slippery.
No, I got that. I think it's the noise. They did the Fourth Avenue Bridge downtown
Yeah.
because people were complaining about how noisy it was, and they used this on that. So, any other questions for Lance before we move on?
Lights are gonna go up on the bridge and look pretty.
Share an email address. Send me some pictures.
I have it. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I have it.
Request it.
Well, there was a proposal to put lights on the bridge. Is that outside of your wheelhouse or are you familiar?
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. That was a big deal about a year and a half ago. There was a contest and we never heard of that. We never heard it
Can
again.
you imagine how beautiful it will be?
What kind of lights?
Oh, they were like, fancy lights, light up the bridge.
Then you can change colors and design.
Yeah, you just don't want to live across the street from it.
You're so high up there. You
No,
can-
it's not me. It's not me. My neighbors, they all go crazy if that thing started lighting up. But anyhow, that's another story. Okay, thank you so much, Lance. It was
Thank
short
you.
notice and I appreciate your coming. Good night. Okay. Carol Mitchell is an MSW program manager for the neighborhood support team. And she's here tonight to tell us a little bit about neighborhood support and what they can do for our community.
Absolutely. Thank
Carol.
you so much, Marilyn. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. As was mentioned, I am the program manager for homeless initiatives. Oh, you want me over there?
No.
No, he's gonna get you a chair.
Oh, I can stand. That's okay.
I'll put it here.
All right. Well, if you put it there, then I'm gonna sit. Thank you.
And just a reminder that your microphone is the one that's picking up.
Yes, so we're moving it over here so that you can pick her up.
Perfect. So again, on behalf of the city manager's office and more specifically neighbor support, which is an arm of the city manager's office, thank you for having us here this evening. I'm also here with my colleague, whom I'm sure many of you know, George Hrushka. In neighbor support, we like to consider ourselves small but mighty. There are 9 of us on our team. We cover community engagement, which is under the auspices of Jania Robinson, volunteerism, which, as you know, is under George, and he'll be sharing some information shortly about Coffee and Conversation. And then I oversee homeless initiatives with 3 other staff. So very quickly, the things that I'd like to touch on, and I know time is of the essence, so I'll move as quickly as I can, just to give you some information regarding the point in time count, which is something that some of you may be familiar with, but I'll share a little bit more about that. Homeless initiatives are fiscal year 24 data that are in the packet that will be handed out to you shortly. House Bill 1365 and Fix It FTL, which is a mechanism to officially report concerns through an app. Community Court, Coffee and Conversation, as I mentioned, that George will share. And we also have some very special guests with us today from Fellowship. So we have Rick with us, who is going to introduce folks that he has with him as well that would like to share some very important information with you. And I think it will really cast the light on what homelessness is and isn't. So the point in time count, has anyone heard about the point in time count or familiar with that?
No.
No.
Yes, I've done it.
Oh, you've done it.
several times.
And I'd be remiss too to not mention Amy, because Amy and I show up every month for the Homeless Advisory Committee held at the city, and I serve as the liaison for that committee. So the point in time count is essentially coordinated by Broward County's Housing Options Solutions and Supports Division, HOSTI, alongside Task Force for Ending Homelessness. And it's typically held the last week of January across the United States, not just here. So it's essentially counties and municipalities' way of putting their finger, so to speak, on the pulse of the state of homelessness. So last year, the county opted to not have a full scale hit count, point in time count, but they did provide a count specific to the city of Fort Lauderdale. And 797 individuals, so short, shy of 800 individuals were identified by way of survey to be experiencing homelessness, either in an emergency or transitional shelter or on the street combined. Of those, and again, this is just city of Fort Lauderdale, of those 52% shared that they were experiencing homelessness for 2 years or more, 49% of them for the very first time. That to me is very astounding to think that 50% of, so 400 people, reported that they were experiencing homelessness for the very first time. Approximately 20% were caring for one or more children homeless, either in a shelter or on the street. Over 60% wanted to speak to someone regarding mental health concerns, and 8% were experiencing homelessness with a pet. And I will say that sometimes when there is a shelter situation available that will not allow pets, whether it's a service animal or just a pet, folks will choose to stay on the street with their pets. Their pet is their family, so gets my heart. And the greatest need, needless to say, for individuals experiencing homelessness that they relayed was the need for permanent housing, permanent affordable housing, food, shelter, and the ability to take a shower. We also have, well, it's in your packet and you don't have it yet, but, and maybe George, if you don't mind handing those out. So there is information for the fiscal year for homeless initiatives that I'll kind of be speaking on as I go through. So I'm not going to go through it verbatim, but what I wanted to share next before I go back to that is about House Bill 1365. So I would imagine that most people are aware that October 1st, the House bill went into effect, prohibiting public camping and public sleeping of individuals. The city went a step further with their ordinance 1632, and not just having it be overnight public camping and sleeping, which was not defined, by the way, by the government. But our ordinance makes it 24/7. So essentially, individuals who are violating the House bill, our officers, our homeless outreach team, we have 6 officers that are specifically dedicated to homeless outreach in the city of Fort Lauderdale, and they are responsible for addressing any of these complaints that come in, typically through Fix It FTL, which you have a flyer in your packet as well that will show you how to get that app on your phone if you don't already have it. And so it is not their intention to have somebody be arrested unless they are creating, a crime. So what they're looking at is what the needs of that individual are. Do they need medical help? Do they need mental health? Do they services? Do they need substance abuse treatment? So they're really trying to first determine what their needs are, offer them the services, making them aware of what violation they are, what violation is being attributed to what their actions are on the street, and told what they cannot do. So it could be, trespassing. It could be having an open container. It could be obstructing the right of way, for instance. So providing the individual moves and listens to the officers, they will not necessarily be served with what's called a notice to appear. So that takes me into community court. So in the city of Fort Lauderdale, in 2019, we implemented, or the city implemented, what's called community court, essentially a way to divert individuals who have some of these misdemeanors from actually having to go to division court, and perhaps even as far as being incarcerated. Judge Florence Varner, she presides over our community court. Every Wednesday, it's held from 11 o'clock to 12, but community court is 9 to 12. 9 to 11 is when individuals are coming in. Most of them are coming in to receive services, to get connected to services, and a small portion of those individuals are there to see the judge. If they are compliant, if they have no other additional violations, and they are abiding by her order for whatever service they may need, and they do their community service hours, then she will graduate them and dismiss their case. So we found great success in having community court available to our homeless neighbors. Again, the majority of which are not there because they have some type of infraction. They're really there just seeking the opportunity to be connected to services.
Excuse me, ma'am, before we go past community court, November is ours. We do community court in November, Harbordale.
Oh.
So just remember, November, as soon as I get the date in the room, I'll be sending out notices, and we have a party. And we make sandwiches and we make we put together the little packages. So just remember, we do that in November and there won't be a meeting in November because we're doing that. But that's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Once a month or once a week?
It's once a week. Sorry if I said once a month. It's every week on a Wednesday.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
Yes.
every week. And if you're familiar with the bus transit station, it's literally kind of across the street from there.
Let me ask you a question
Yes.
about that. We were gonna buy that building. Now we're not gonna buy that building.
No, there is no appetite to purchase that building, so the city is currently leasing from month to month. Well, they're under a lease that expires September 30th.
Oh, that's no good.
So
So you would need help from the community, for instance, to contact our commissioners and say, listen, this temporary month-to-month thing that doesn't give stability to the program is something you should be working on and changing.
mhm.
Let's remember that.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain, and again, some of you may be familiar with Christopher Cooper, who is one of the acting assistant city managers. He is front and center on the issues of homelessness, probably involved in way more high-level meetings than I am. So I know that they're very aware of the situation and that we need an alternate location to house community court beyond September, the end of
Notes.
September. So at this time, in the interest of time, and I know I didn't really go into a whole lot about the House bill, but I will toss it over to George to share a bit with you about not community court, about coffee and conversation, because it really has had a tie-in to community court in some ways. So, George, if you don't mind.
This one is in the,
Yes, that one's in there as well.
so just to kind of segue, okay, I mean, in this particular one here, you see, okay, how the impact is of how many calls, fire and PD gets every single, year in reference to anything that's related to homelessness, PD over 10,000 calls.
Mm.
But there's a huge call volume, okay, it's like, what are we doing about? And community court is one of the best ways of getting the homeless community connected with services. About a year and a half ago, there was issues at Gulf Ocean Mall, Imperial Point, and the main library, where a lot of homeless people were using it as a day respite. And I mean, it's a great place, but it's also a great place to connect with them to services similar to community court, but on a much smaller scale. So we engaged the Rotary Club and the fellowship with Rick to create a collaborative event with the libraries, and it was really kind of interesting to see, to invite the homeless population into a coffee conversation. And while we're sitting there, we had a peer-to-peer conversation with them. It's like, what's going on in your life? How can we connect you to the services that you need? It's the same concept as community court, but it was twice a month at each one of the locations. And the first year alone, we had about 226 people individuals that we talked to. We gave out 115 bus passes to have an intimate conversation about what's really going on. Because when you're in a situation at court or at the coffee conversation, you're not going to tell all the details about what's going on in your life, but sometimes there's heartbreaking stories. Okay, and there's over 60% that have either alcohol or drug issues or mental issues. So it's like, you're not going to share that. But with the bus pass, we were able to get them to the fellowship and then have an intimate conversation with them. And out of those 226, 115 got the bus pass, and 46 actually got some significant services. And it could be just significant. Okay, we had 12 people that we placed, I think, into a day respite and alcohol treatment, right? And there was a lot of people that we connected with medical services, and then a whole bunch of people with the SNAP program, getting them the certificates. And I've been listening to probably 50 or 60 of the coffee and conversation, and the stories are heartbreaking. It's like, think about you walking around with all your possessions. In the middle of the night, someone sticks a gun to your head, or they takes everything you own, and you have to start from scratch again, right? And so it's like those things we don't see, but we see them in the numbers. Like, we have concerns about it. And that was really the power of the coffee and conversation, to connect with the homeless community and say, come on out, let us help you get the way as much as we can. And this will really, can we just segue directly to fellowship? And let me introduce you to Rick Riccardi, who is one of the most amazing people I have met, because he's our guy.
Stand up.
Good set.
All right, I'll give you, there you go, thank you. I tore my Achilles tendon the other day. This 6 or 8 months.
Excuse me, sir, can you guys online hear him? Can you hear the volume?
It's good.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, nobody's saying no, so we're good.
So,
Not really, I think.
Huh?
Yeah, we've had a complaint for further they get from your microphone.
Yeah.
I mean, well, look,
Yeah, why don't know, what, take my seat,
okay,
because then when you're right there.
all right.
That's closer. There you go, and it's a more comfortable chair.
Wait, are you telling me no one listened to what I had to say? It's the accent that goes.
Yeah,
You
you
got
go.
numbers, George. are
I'm
good.
holding it. You go.
Okay, great.
As far as I'm concerned.
Okay. It's a good relationship because it's that peer-to-peer conversation that makes a difference.
Okay.
It's like, I always like the conversation, you can have a presentation to someone,
Yep.
or you sit down with them and say, hi, how are you doing? How can I help you, right? That personal one-on-one, but it needs to be a peer, someone that experienced hopelessness beforehand is the one that can connect with the person there. I'm sorry, I haven't experienced it, so I couldn't really be that person. But someone who was there and says, look, I mean, the first time we ever did it, okay, this guy Victor said, I'll give up, surrender. Right, he was in the streets for 10 years, right? And he went to the service. It's just absolutely amazing to see that. And, I don't wish I could.
Thanks, George. Hi, so I'm with an organization, I'm the founder of a group called Fellowship Recovery Community Organization. We focus on substance use disorder, alcohol and drug addiction. And we have ourselves have 200 beds for people in recovery after they get out of jail or get out of treatment or they get out of bark or detox. They have no place they can come and start their life with us, and they can live with us. We've had people there years, but the idea is that they get a restart, and it's all peer-to-peer stuff. So we have 38 people that work with us who all been in recovery, live there, work with them peer-to-peer, day-to-day. So that's our core operation. And we also have a thing called the respite, where 6 or 8 years ago, I started because anytime somebody relapses, and relapse is pretty normal in recovery, we're no different than diabetes or anything else, people relapse. And then once they relapse, they're contaminating the area, they have to go. And where do they go? They get thrown out, and now they've just relapsed and they get hopeless and get angry and blah, blah, and wind up, that's good chance for them to die in that period of time. So we opened a thing called a respite, where they could come and stay from anywhere, any place they've left as a result of relapse, hang out there for 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 days, whatever it takes. We feed them, make sure they're safe, and then send them back to their sober home or their agency or wherever they were. So in that little area, we have 20 beds. We basically had, in the last almost 6 years, 6,000 people come through there. Those 6,000 people would be homeless, at least for those 3 or 4 or 5 days, if not longer, depending on if they could get back to where they were going. So, and in general, we have anywhere from 400 to 500 people a year come and live with us for whatever period of time it is, weeks, months, years. So that's our core operation. But mainly we're peer support services. We have 2 areas, 2 recovery centers, one in Margate and one in Fort Lauderdale, where people can come and get services that we're talking about. So this county is unbelievable with services. I mean, there's so many services here. The thing is that the people who are in trouble have no idea where they are, how to get there, maneuver, even if they heard about them, getting there, so much gets in the way of it all. So the idea that George was talking about, coffee conversation, was our first connection in that way, away from community court, where we would go into the libraries with people, peers, and sit and talk about them. And they said, what do you need? Where you want to go? And a lot of people don't care. They're going to stay homeless with you no matter what. But there is a big percentage of people just need help and just don't know where to get it. So they can come to the center. We'll make sure we connect them either with medical assistance or legal stuff, or their driver's license or birth certificate or whatever. There's always something. Pardon?
Are you find them housing?
No. Unless they want, unless they want substance use, so unless they have a recovery, then get a house tonight. It still can go on. There's 2,800 recovery beds in this county, certified by FAR.
Hello, can anyone hear me? Marilyn, your laptop is on mute. We can't hear anything.
These are the things that having peer support.
Thank you.
Having a community and fellowship, having friends, being a part of the Alcoholics Anonymous membership group, and just being supported and to me, I wanted to say this, I thought about this earlier, that even during my homelessness, and I'm gonna cry, the city of Fort Lauderdale and the residents took care of me. People would bring me food down by the river walk, that saw me there. I tried to keep myself clean and do the best I could, in my substance abuse. The city of Fort Lauderdale helped me survive until I can make a better way and find a way to change my life, so I just want to thank you all. Thanks for letting me be here.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Boy,
Hi.
I took a drink and then a drink took me. And it was that way for a long time. I suffered from substance abuse disorder. And I did start with drinking and I graduated to crack and powder cocaine. I've hurt so many people and I've lost so many things. I mean, I just gave it away to the drugs. And I went to the main library here. I'd come back down here to Florida. If you're going to be homeless, it's better to be in Florida than, say, Oklahoma City, which isn't why I came here, but that's a fact. So and I'm also got something going on with my memory, so it'll come back to me in a second.
The library.
Yeah, I was at the library. Thank you. At the library for coffee and conversation. I was up there so I could use the restroom, and I was charging my cell phone, and it's air conditioned. And somebody came around and said, "Would you like some donuts and have some coffee?" And I thought, "Sure, why not?" So I went down, and it turned out to be George and I think you were there that day, weren't? Yeah, I know who you are. And I sat down and I talked to somebody from Fellowship, one of the peer support people, and I got into respite that same day. And I spent 19 days there, and then I went to Bark, and then came back to Fellowship. So how long?
Yeah.
About a year and a half, 2 years. So I came to Fellowship, and that's where I found a great deal of hope. Nobody else wanted me, and they loved me just the way I was. Expected me to change a little bit though, and I had a lot. Let's see what else. So at Fellowship, what they gave me was structure, a safe place, good company, other people in recovery. There's a community of us. We love each other, and we look out for each other, and we hold each other accountable. And primarily, that's what the Fellowship has given me. Now I'm going through, like I said, some medical stuff, but I still have a safe environment to live, and I'm taking care of things as I can. And I'm very grateful to Rick and all the staff. Everybody cares. They just care. It's like there must be a conspiracy. These people, it must want something, but they just generally care. And so I couldn't be in a better place right now. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you.
Hold on to you.
Is there a bus or something that has showers in it that could go to the coffee meetups, and that would be another opportunity to meet up with people. I think a lot of people would go to have a shower and clean up and.
So it comes to community court every Wednesday. I'm not sure George can speak to whether or not that's ever been a consideration for coffee and conversation. I don't know, like location wise and scheduling wise and.
Well, think about, okay, the impact on cost, right? If you have 12 different service providers sitting in a room every week, then that the staff time adds up, right? Coffee conversation is very low key, it's very effective. because we're just having one or two peer-to-peer people there that say, come on in, okay, to have a discussion, right? So our cost, okay, is minimal compared to that, okay, so, and then having that effectiveness, okay, of actually that connectivity, okay, that makes it really the worthwhile thing. Bringing the bus out would be lovely. I'm not quite sure if it's helping, okay, the public conversation concept
Mhm.
necessarily, right? Because it's that they're sitting around the table is just 45 minutes an hour. And there's a significant cost to the bus coming out too.
There is a shower bus, there's two actually, that travel the city and go to wherever the people are. And events like coffee conversation every Wednesday, but they're around all the time. There are places like Hope South Church over on Andrews that basically are creating showers for people. Actually, they've gotten a lot of trouble with the city for not getting the right licenses. They had to close it down, but people are trying to create ways of, getting people through this until there is housing available. The housing is not available, so, we gotta help people stay alive and at least maybe even get themselves in a different direction in the meantime, so.
Speaking of, if just me first, but then you.
Yeah.
Speaking of the shower thing, I saw in one of the commission, the recent commission meetings that they are finally seriously talking about safe parking. Can you talk a little bit about safe parking?
Yeah.
Yeah, could you talk a little bit about that?
So I will say that the acting assistant city manager, Chris Cooper, is more involved in those conversations than I am, but I do believe that they are canvassing a couple of organizations in the community who have the will, the appetite, the grounds to have safe parking, but safe parking isn't just a matter of somebody who's experiencing homelessness in a vehicle parking somewhere safe. You have to have security, you have to have facilities for them to use the restroom.
That's why I thought
you
about
know,
the shower thing, yeah.
Things like that, maybe even case management to get people connected to services. But it's definitely on the table, and I wouldn't be surprised if proposals start coming out soon.
Because we, in the community, we've seen people living in their cars.
Mhm.
During COVID,
Absolutely.
there were people living on the top floor of a parking garage, and it was like a community up there.
A lot of the people living in their cars are working.
Yes, yes.
I
Correct.
understand that.
Correct.
Yes.
And
Just-
sending their children to school, going to McDonald's, getting washed up and so forth. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
There's
Oh, I'm sorry.
a new project also with the Holiday Inn or whatever, that one hotel that somebody's bought, and they actually are subsidizing. So if you're in a certain category where you can't afford to move into real housing, but you have enough to sustain rent, getting moved into that place anyway, so they actually have housing, but it's priority to families.
Yeah.
People with children. You got all these levels of priorities and where you can and can't go, but.
Mark.
Thank you for the presentation. My
Absolutely.
question is there's a lot of residents, I think, that are confused. So this is a fantastic app. Tony and I, we brought this thing up since it's been introduced. And in the 17th Street areas, this area, report homelessness concern. My question is, because you mentioned 6 officers, I think you're talking about police officers. right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm on the app right now. So I'm doing an inquiry. The app's fantastic. It's got every conceivable city service that you might need for an inquiry. If I go to the police department, the first item for inquiry is homeless concern. I think they got it backwards, because when I go to neighborhood support, which is you, right? Neighborhood support, under the category of homelessness, there's camping and sleeping on public property, House Bill 1365, and homeless outreach inquiry. To me, if enforcement of House Bill 1365 is the police department, it should be under police department instead of, and then the homeless concern that's currently under the police department, the first item in the drop down should be under neighborhood support. I think they got it backwards. Because the average resident doesn't know, they see homelessness,
Right.
but they could be in the public's parking lot over here, that's private property.
Yes.
But if they're homeless and they're sleeping on the sidewalk, that's public property.
Yeah.
So people aren't reporting it properly. They go to police department and they do homeless concerns. So it's not building a database of HB 1365 cases, which is public.
I have an answer for you.
Could you switch it?
I have an answer for you. So
Okay.
perhaps it can be switched and I'll certainly bring that information back.
Yeah.
Marco Aguilera is one of our administrative supervisors in neighbor support, and he's responsible for going through the fix-it complaints that come through, concerns that come through.
Right.
He reads every single one of them, and if they're miscategorized, he recategorizes them. So that's happening behind the scenes, but to
Good
your
to know.
point, yes, it would be less confusing if it was structured differently. So I'd be more than happy to bring that back to the team that set the app up.
1365 is enforced by the police department on public property.
Right, correct.
And think about that's part of the reason why we're here, to kind of educate. Here's the problem, here's what we're doing, here's questions so that you can have the answers and the great suggestions. So thank you for
Yeah,
that.
certainly bring that back.
The IT.
Yeah, and I supervise Marco, so I can tell you with 100% certainty that he is going through every week and reporting out the data. It is, you're right. But he is categorizing them based on the narrative
Right.
in the right place. And many of them are in the right place, but when he sees something that's a public camping and sleeping, that's in homeless inquiry, homeless concern, he
I
recategorizes
see
them.
all of them too. 'Cause I
Yeah.
set up for sharing, so I see everybody.
Okay, so he
you're a good
When I
recategorizes.
see them, it's like, they're not categorized properly.
While we're on the subject of these two guys burning up the app. These two guys are our eyes and ears on the, on a number of issues, street lighting and trespassing. So they've been doing great work on, with the private property owners and getting trespass signs and such like that.
Mhm.
Right. We're big into that.
Yeah.
But, you want to talk to them a little about the problem we're having with the, ABC Liquors, ABC Fine Wines. There are some property owners who are very responsive and helpful. And we wanted them to keep on their lights to stop people from, being vagrants around their property. And some are less than helpful. And so they've been talking to the owner, to the operator of ABC Fine Wines and Liquors, which is, we all go to ABC Wines and Liquors occasionally when we don't go to the other guys. But we're trying to get them to turn the lights on. They won't keep the lights on at night on the back of their store.
They did initially, but
They-
last year or so, after about a year of doing it every night religiously, when the sun, they stopped doing it just abruptly and.
Well, they're probably saving money. They figured, wow, why do we keep the lights on? We're gonna save money, but we're doing a full court press.
But they put them on because they got broken into at the back.
Well, maybe we should break into them again and they'll put the lights on.
I heard
No.
nothing.
Is it being recorded? You gotta-
We got it. Well, but the reason I'm bringing it up is that we're going to be doing some kind of event, maybe we all go over, like bring a bunch of people over and take some photographs and send the photographs to their they have a Facebook page, and we got to get creative with these guys. It's, go.
ABC Fine Wine Spirits has 125 plus stores in the state of Florida. Family owned. Their latest and greatest stores, they have a building automation system that controls the lighting by remote control from the city of Orlando. So they've got all the stores for energy conservation set up so that when their people go home, the lights go out. Now, when they first opened that store, they had lights on at night all the time. But then sometime they decided to go to the automation system, the people who work there have no control. There's no light switch in the store. It's controlled remotely through.
So you need to talk to the
automation
corporation.
system. But
Yeah.
to be fair, not just picking on ABC, I've done entire strip centers. I've done strips of the Barbers.
If we've done the school, we've done Harbordale.
The Harbordale, we got them to turn the lights on.
I'm working on Aspire Nursing Home. The building, they permit buildings. Everything from landscaping to the exterior lighting. So these buildings have exterior security lighting. And I would say that lighting disinfects. It discourages you know, the homeless need a place to stay, but they don't really need to camp outside a nursing home. And there have been issues over there, you know, peering in the windows, and I've heard stories. So I've been trying to work with Aspire, who's corporate, to turn on their lights. You know, if a building is designed to have exterior security lighting, why is it off at night? I've been to Southport Shopping Center. There's lights on in the front,
No lights in the back.
but on the back side, on the street side, there was no lights on out there. So I've been working with tenants of each one of those stores, from Ross to everybody in between, to say, talk to the property manager, you're paying rent. You've got trucks that are offloading and loading at 4 a.m. in the morning. Your employees aren't safe because it's dark out there and there's homeless people and other vagrants. And I'm compassionate to the homeless, okay, but there have been violent people that are waiting for opportunities that are out there. So I've been working with all the business community to get their security lights turned on at night. That's why they put them there.
Yeah.
They were designed, they have cameras that are in the dark because there's no lights.
Yeah. Well, that's two sides of the same coin. It's two sides of the same
It
coin.
is.
And, you know, we gotta be working on both sides of that
Yeah.
coin, which is why we invited you here tonight to tell us how it's going and what we can do to help. I mean, can we help with coffee and conversation? I mean, you're still doing it,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, we don't have any funding sources from the city.
We're not talking fun, we're talking about volunteering.
Well, volunteer because it's a peer-to-peer.
Oh, no,
conversation.
that's-
We don't want to,
I can't help.
yeah, in that case, right?
Yeah.
There is behind the scene, you can help, right?
Community
Yep.
Oh, no, we do
Community
that.
support, right? And let me just, I mean, gentlemen have to go too, but we have Fort Lauderdale Cares Day coming up. Every year I do 2 major service days, and one of my volunteer organizations said, can we do PBJ sandwiches, okay, for our disadvantaged community, not necessarily for the homeless, but anyone that's experienced food insecurity. It's more to create awareness around it. So this is coming up. I have somewhere between 250 and 350 volunteers that are going to be making sandwiches.
More sandwiches.
But so I have to deliver probably somewhere between 15 and 20,000 sandwiches. But the main thing for us is we don't want to add to any food waste. So our thing over the next couple of weeks is, where do we give them out in a dignified and sanitary manner, okay, that is amenable to our communities, okay, so that we cannot give out packages, okay, to people that need it. That it might be a mother in need, okay, for the kids over the weekend. It's on April 26th. We need to deliver them between 11 and 2 o'clock, and they have to be consumed by Monday because it's food safety. We don't want to have them hanging around too long, right? But so if you know an organization, okay, that's helping out anyone that might need a little help, okay, for a weekend, okay, because there is not too many areas, okay, where you can get a meal for a homeless person or anyone. Liveness for Family gives out packages, hundreds of packages to people that are living in the cars or actually just food insecure. So if you know anyone, please let me know. My information is on the bottom here. There's so much stuff we can do as a community to help out. Okay, it's like most important thing is like, welcome to the community. Okay, how can we help you so that you get out from the backyard into the services that you need? Right now, okay, providing homes is probably not feasible, but at least, okay, how can we help you to get into a safe location and in a dignified manner?
Yes.
How is this being broadcast? Like, how will people know, and can we do something in our part?
I'm thinking.
No, that's exactly it. Okay, we go one-on-one, okay, because we don't want to blast it out, so to say, because I get too many people that want to make the PBJs. I need to make sure I have the PBJs for the right people in the right amount at the right time. That's my crux, okay? So if you're involved in your church community, that would be great. If you know, a lot of times, okay, we see the same people on the street. And I mean, they don't reach out, okay, for any help. I mean, if there's someone that you know that you want to give something to, I mean, that would be one thing, but we want to be concerned about, okay, the concerns of our neighbors too, okay? We don't want to do a feeding where we shouldn't be, right? So it should be through an organization, okay, that's giving out food anyway.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense?
We don't do
Says,
that.
I don't want to have a stand at Publix to come on by, okay, and pick up the sandwiches. Because I mean, we want to be proactive in giving it to.
Why don't we just go and see how it's working?
Yeah.
And see if we can't piggyback on it, if not this time, we'll learn how it's being done and maybe we can work something out. Because we're gonna have a joint use playground soon. This is my update as soon as we get through this part of the thing. And we could be doing things like that.
Yeah, because we are an organization. And Carol, what did you say? There was volunteer, opportunity at the court?
Community courts.
What will people do?
So we need individuals to help hand out the food. We have Feeding South Florida that comes. We need individuals to help us register. We register every person that comes in for services at community court. Sometimes the providers that are in the room need some support as far as directing folks where they need to go in the room. So there's different things that would be helpful to us.
Oh, God, did you tell them how many people come through every week?
Definitely over 100 people. I've seen upwards of like 130 plus individuals come through community court. And again, the majority of them are seeking to get connected to a service, not there because they have received a notice to appear in front of the community court judge.
So have you been keeping statistics on how many people have been gone through the non-camping
Yes.
ordinance? Is
Yes.
it online?
I think we are going to be posting, we're currently going through a web page update.
Yeah.
And I believe quarterly, we're gonna put the quarterly data up, but I can share with
Yeah.
you. And it's broken down by district, of course, by our commissioners in the areas, so I can
Well,
share that with you.
Where can we get more information about programs like yours? I mean, you must have a website somewhere. I mean, this is the first time I've heard about it.
Yeah.
Because certainly, I want to put that up. I want people to be aware of it because we've always been concerned about there is no respite place.
Yeah.
Remember the jail?
Right.
We didn't want a jail. We wanted to turn the jail into a respite site. Up on Powerline, we wanted it to be a
Old
place,
Stockade.
the old stockade. We had put together a proposal, actually, Vicky, me and Commissioner Sturman, a proposal for a respite site with medical component because the doctor was part of Broward General. And it would be a day thing. And people would get passes and they'd be able to go there and they'd be able to talk to the doctor. And we were talking about not a kitchen, but sandwiches, just like the community court.
There are a lot of services going on in Broward County.
There are a lot, but for
That
some, why
particular-
isn't this working? Or working, how can we make it work better? How can we help you?
Well, just the awareness is all that to me, because it gravitates to, oh, I know a person, I just heard a person. That's as simple as it gets, because there's nothing you can do specifically unless you have a person that needs help and you call them. And that's,
Well, we do that with
Why
the
not?
task force for the homelessness.
Yeah.
I have called them 3 or 4 times, and within a half an hour, they're on the street with that person. Working with them. There were people who were living in their cars within a half an hour of the call, they were there, and I don't know the result. I wish I knew the result,
there's a.
but they were
there's a
gone.
group called, South.
South Florida Wellness Center?
South Florida Wellness Center, and they have 100 peers out on the street. And so if you call them, those peers will go see people on the street. You call us, we'll send our peers out onto the street.
Right.
And just to talk to these people.
Yeah.
I mean, the coffee conversation is a place where they come to, but if you have somebody you see outside and you say, there's a guy outside really.
It
needs
looks
help.
like he could use some help.
Yeah, so you would just call me since now you know me.
Okay.
And I in turn would get somebody out to talk to that person. So,
I do neighborhood watch for our building. We go out to the streets, we run into homeless folks all the time. If I had a stack of these things.
I'd be happy to get you more.
A stack.
I didn't bring them
I'll
today,
keep in my
but
back pocket. I talk to homeless people all the time. I pick up the phone, I tell them I'm ex-government because I'm retired Broward County. You say, let me get you some service now.
I have
Pick up the phone, and also, they start walking away from it.
Yeah.
That pridefulness sometimes, they don't want the service. I don't know how to.
so the peers come out, that's what we.
That's the best, the peers. Yeah.
Like, I've been with you, I know, I've been driving on the street, I understand what you're doing. This is what I did, this is how.
She's working on it.
Marilyn, I can get back
That's
to
been
you.
working pretty good.
Okay, that's good. And I will put this up on our
Me too.
webpage and I will, make sure people are aware of it. Okay.
Alan said, we didn't even know about your organization really, and it's been around 20 years now.
But as much as we're talking about, this portion of the problem, the real problem is housing.
Right.
The real problem is, people have got to have a place to live, and
And all the housing-
affordable housing is a,
And most of the housing programs are transitional in this area. There's not very little long-term housing.
Mm.
It's getting more expensive
yeah, as we all know.
as we all,
Yeah, one paycheck away is what I always say.
yeah.
Yep.
Does the city
All
or
right.
County provides the homeless with cell phones.
Not that I know
We
of.
personally do, well, personally, the city does not, but we do have a provider that comes in and assists with cell phones, but they have to be receiving some form of government assistance. And we do have an individual who comes every Wednesday and helps individuals that aren't signed up for SNAP food stamps to get signed up, and then
That's
that
good.
makes them eligible
But
to
I
get food.
I have seen homeless
get phones.
folks with cell phones, so they do.
Yeah.
There's the number.
Yeah, but you gotta get them to call the number.
Right.
That's true.
It's like-
Quick question, has anyone been to Ruth Ministry, okay, for a
Ruth
feeding by any
Ministries
chance?
as well, yeah.
Ruth
Has anyone been to Ruth Ministry for the United Church of Christ? They do
Every
a feeding,
Thursday.
yeah, every
Yeah.
Thursday from 11 to 12:30. They serve probably a good 100 to 150 people. They have the showers outside, they got the minivan outside. The fellowship was out there, okay, providing services, they have clothing, hygiene products. It's a real great organization, and they take on all kinds of donations, okay, for clothing, shoes, underwear, things like that. So if you want to get involved with
Oh,
it,
yeah.
go over there every Thursday from 11 to about 12:30, then they close the doors, but it's an amazing organization. It gives you really a feeling of, okay, what's out there and who is helping who. And it-
Ruth Ministry.
Ruth Ministries United Church of Christ.
Yeah.
And I
No,
think
it's not on there.
they're by the Target, they're at A-Frame Church on Middle River Drive and 30th Street, right?
United Church, but we were just there.
Don't ask me the.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also share that with you,
That is
Marilyn.
amazing,
and you
okay,
can-
just to get an understanding, okay, what's out there to help, right, because we need to really look at it. We need to help. How can we help people? Can it starts with us as a community,
Yes,
our neighbors are helping out and reaching out. How can I get you connected? We don't have a home, but at least that you,
Partner with organizations like the Salvation Army, Faith Farm, those folks.
So we have
Cover
different,
programs.
well, depending upon what you mean by partner, for like goods. When they go to the shelters, when they're eligible and there is an opening for them to go to the shelter, then they get their needs met, but. Do you mean, what, I'm sorry, maybe I didn't understand the question, like partner with them in terms of receiving goods from them of some sort?
They have beds, Faith Farm has a recovery program.
Yeah.
For their people.
Yeah, I think they're also amenable to receiving donations, right? Absolutely.
I'm getting the sense that there's a lot of stuff and not a lot of coordination.
That's what I'm getting.
I'm getting that
There
sense
is among the service providers.
among them, perhaps.
that's really okay.
Well,
but
what-
we're here,
what's
so
the
that
view
you-
from the guys in the
Without-
From the guys in the ballpark over here? Is it easy to get these services, or is it just too many?
I think that, I mean, at least for the substance abuse, I mean, substance abuse and mental health are two things before you start looking at housing and before you start looking at what services you're gonna, you need to address the issue that's the barrier.
A personal issue.
Yeah, like for me, I needed to address my addiction and I need to address my mental health issues before looking at housing, looking at peer support, looking at building my resume, getting my social security card. All the services are there, but I had to get out of my paranoid state of mind and my depression and my addiction. So I mean, I had to go away to treatment. So
So it
that's
was
what my-
treatment. Treatment was the key for you guys to get,
for myself, that was for me.
okay. Treatment, all right. Good to
But,
know.
but still, eventually,
But once you pass that barrier, once you jump over that barrier, then this other stuff all comes into play. Understood. Okay. Thank you, Carol. This has been so illuminating.
Really?
This has been more hopeful than we've heard in a long time. Thank you. Thank you for fixing my TV.
Your time for being here, so it's like, thank you, Rick and team, okay, thank you for coming on.
Here's Rick's card.
Okay. All right.
Thank you all so much. Sorry for taking up so much of your
No,
time.
no, we could.
This is very good.
Any more questions?
No.
Okay, let's get out. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Broward is a good one, a good place to look up as well, 211
Uh-huh.
Broward, because you can then sort for the service that you're interested in finding about if it exists.
For any.
And task. force.
They're wonderful.
Yeah.
They're wonderful.
Amy, see you Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday.
Okay.
Okay. Good night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The rest of the fellowship could use donations for clothing items.
Well, you should, if I'd known, that, we'll be in touch because we do clothing drives too. Oh, excellent. Yeah. Maybe we'll do that for our Christmas thing. Yeah. Okay, guys, we all want to get home at a reasonable hour tonight. So I'm just gonna very briefly go through the updates. Joint use playground at Harbordale Elementary. We made the first step. We went to the Parks Recreation Board last week, and they voted unanimously to make the switch between the two parks. So now we have a budget of close to $450,000 for the joint use park. We're going to be going to the city commission sometime in April. Now, you guys got to come. I mean, really, I can't be the only one standing there supporting this. We need bodies. No, it will probably be at night. It'll be the evening meeting. That's where they take the decision. Okay, so as soon as I find out when the time is, I'll send a notice around, and if you could just pencil it in, and we could all just stand there in the room and say, yes, we want this, we want this. Yes, it's a yeah. Playground, yes, that's a joint use playground. Actually, it's not a park. I'm sorry, shouldn't use the word park. It's a joint use playground. It's not a park. Oh, yes, they are. Okay, that's the one thing that is time sensitive. We got to do this. And the other thing that's time sensitive is that Harbordale is scheduled to go to the new Nova Southeastern University Art Museum on June 29th. We got a date. So that will be our date to go to the museum. And we do that. Nova South NSU Art Museum, the NSU, where we always go. We always go in June. We got a date downtown. Yeah. Okay. June 29th.
Museum.
The Art Museum. Yes. June 29th. No. No. So that's really all I had on my agenda. Since we're a small group, is there anything else you guys want to bring up? Oh, I'm sorry. The lights. Right. Enrique could not make it tonight. So I don't have any update. Mark is probably the only person in the world who knows more than almost Enrique knows about it, because he's like a lighting guru. Have you heard anything new? I haven't heard anything new. Yes. Correct. Well, they've asked us as a civic association to poll the group and find out whether they want one kind of lighting or another kind of lighting.
Yeah.
And I think there are examples that you can look at in the neighborhood. For instance, all along 16th Street now, they have those orange lights. Okay?
But we need someone to tell us.
No, we need photographs and things like that. I don't get the sense that this is gonna happen tomorrow.
Okay,
Do you
so
get the sense this is happening tomorrow?
Part of it happened a year and a half.
Well, that was a small part of it. And they put the new lights by you,
Yeah.
the very bright ones.
Southeast 10th Avenue up past at the very end, north end of the cemetery.
Yeah.
There's one that's
Yeah,
unshielded
okay.
there. And then there's a couple more around there. One has a shield on that I had asked for because it was shining on my house. And then there's some others that are kind of in the trees.
Yeah.
Right at the corner there, right at the corner. And
Right.
yeah, that's the most obvious one if you go
Right.
to. I don't know if that's a type 1 or a type 2, but I think that is the upgrade program, so.
Unrelated, who got the speed bump? I think it's a good idea, but who got the speed bumps or the speed humps?
We did
You did?
on
Okay,
set and
gotcha.
10th Avenue.
12th.
I'm trying to do that in another area, so it's just kind of.
Oh, on 12th Street.
12th Street are the new design, one's on 10th Avenue.
No,
the
yeah,
old design.
those are the rough ones,
No, they're the easy ones. on
Right.
10th Avenue.
the rough ones
The
that.
rough ones are on 12th Street.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's the newest
that,
city approved design that they would be putting.
where they really-
anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, they're thinking of putting those on Cordova Road. The new ones on Cordova Road, but obviously not everybody is enamored of them. Because they are very boom, boom, boom. And they work. Yes, she wants it, thanks. Okay, so essentially, if I'm not oversimplifying it, there's a very bright light and there's a more softer light.
Technology.
Right.
What you have noticed for years in our community are these orangey kind of glowing type lights. Those are HPS, high pressure sodium lights. That's old technology. So FPL is going to change to LED technology.
Uh-huh.
LED is going to be energy saving, but it makes it a more of a truer white light. So what they have to do is they have to adjust the lumens so that the nice street lamps that we have now that are yellowish, they've got kind of a faint glow, but they don't illuminate the area well. So they want to see, could they have two approaches in residential areas, so you don't have a nice LED putting out 1,000 lumens of
Yeah,
light.
very bright. In a tan, in a tan.
Right, to have the residential areas have a lower lumen LED, it's all gonna be LED, but have a lower lumen LED, but in the commercial areas where you want to disinfect and have better security lighting on the streets, to have the higher lumen LED lights, the ones that are bright.
Right. So as a general rule, you would, common sense, okay, in the commercial areas, we go bright. And in the residential areas, we go not so bright. But there are places like Southeast 10th Avenue.
It's
Where you-
mixed. It's
Yeah,
mixed.
well, no, it's dark there.
It's dark. But
It's
we
very
have-
dark.
We have mixed. We have commercial businesses like, water decks.
No, I'm talking about by the cemetery.
Right. So
That
right
street.
Now, most of Southeast 10th Avenue by the cemetery has the old
So,
yellow
yeah.
lighting right there, and then they changed it at the very north end.
Right.
Just one light.
No, there's 3 or 4 around there.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, they may have done 12th Street all the way to Federal, I think, yes, possibly, I think.
So you don't go faster on those speed.
Well, right, so you see the speed.
So your car doesn't get wrecked.
Yeah.
But the ones I think are extremely bright, and I don't like, I love the dark 10th Avenue.
Me too, we love it, though.
And the reason, even with the LED.
Okay, well, then we gotta tell them that, because if we don't tell them that,
But that's because there's a lot of trees there. So even the old lights up in the trees, there's hardly any light at all comes out of those, right?
What
So-
is the timeline on this? light?
that I don't know. That's why I want Enrique to come. We gotta get Enrique.
I have sent a walk every few weeks or months to kind of say, hey, Ricky, how's everything going?
Right.
Another couple weeks.
Yeah.
They're doing the entire
I
city.
know, there is a plan,
Our bills-
they have a sidewalk plan for the entire city, they have the lighting.
But they didn't put it in, they break it right, so now they're kind of back. over it.
Okay, Cindy, do you have something you want to bring up?
I have a treasury report.
Oh, could you believe that? We have a treasurer's report.
We have $26,075.88.
I think we need to have a party.
Peanut butter and jelly.
And put it in a bond.
We had,
We should.
Yeah, we need to have a
Well,
party.
look at it, in my opinion, I think
Only
we
cheap
should, I
anyway.
think we should spend probably 20 grand or so. Where do we
Let's
want-
not,
Good party.
let's do some more business. Let's do some more business. Southeast 15th Street sidewalks. I know Jeannie will get her ears perked up.
Well, how about me?
Right,
I'm gonna get my.
right. Everybody's gonna get their ears perked up. They're going forward with the plan or the
I've been surveying.
the surveying. They're
They're
going
not
forward
sure.
with surveys and they're going forward with some ideas and proposals and consequences. They have a scope of services for a consultant contract.
Yeah.
I know,
So
for
do-
50,000.
15th Street between Cordova and the water.
Oh, okay.
Sidewalks for that area.
It's
And
not
anyway,
cool.
Does anybody know anything? I wanna send something to Karen if we don't, about what's gonna happen to all 3 of our intersections, and especially the last one.
Oh, I know.
But the others the others are marked up.
Yeah,
Looks
yeah.
like they're gonna-
Don't worry about the 2 other ones. They're gonna get fixed with the sewer project,
Oh, okay.
okay? But the one that was just destroyed,
Yeah.
we've gotta send letters to our commissioner and tell him, go find some money to fix it.
Well, don't they have insurance?
I don't know the answer to that question.
They gotta have coverage for that. They gotta have coverage for it, that,
Who's gotta have coverage? The city?
they did the work there and they.
The city is typically self-insured, so that means.
Oh.
We gotta find some money. All right, guys, one last thing before we go. We had a lovely celebration of life for our Donna Marie Mergenhagen. Lots of people were there. It was at La Bamba restaurant. It was really nice. There were incredible tributes to her from not only people from Harbordale who remember the well-read bookstore and remember Donna there as a fixture. Her brother was there. There were people from her new neighborhood. There were people from her, she taught at the American Language School, that students came, and I mean, it was really a beautiful celebration, and I want to thank La Bamba for, they didn't host us, they charged us, but they charged us very little. And there was no question about, oh, sure, we'll just give you the area. So it was nice.
And we're gonna plant a tree.
Well, there was talk about a tree from another organization that she was active in. Kelly Manning's organization, some garden club. And we said, sure, we'd love to do it if you do it. Who's that?
The hygienist at our dentist, what's her name? The person that does the cleaning at the Arocha and.
I don't know who it is. We said we'd be delighted to do it if she'll do it.
Club. She's big, she loved on it. She's the one that brought the name tags.
Oh, okay. All right.
But Heather and I have been texting a little bit and we talked about this, and so maybe I should contact her and.
Sure, contact. Well, I told Kelly Manning that we would be delighted to have a tree in Donna's honor in the park. Just tell us what you want to do and we'll do it. But they haven't gotten back to me. So if you get to them,
I'll be that.
you'll be that contact. Thank you very much. Okay, that's it, guys. Thank you very much for coming. Mhm.
There are people in worship that.
Yeah.
Dentist.
Yeah.
A dentist.
Yeah.
That's my dentist.
That's it, that's why. Oh, she doesn't. Well, she's the one, somehow she gave me the information.
You said, there's a lot of hygienists there.
What they thought about having business
No, it's not okay.
community leaders in here that pay their $15 to come in that are business people. Because I'm hitting the businesses
I
up.
was gonna get you the folder. We have a folder.
Yeah. Businesses to see if they'd like to join here, but they would like wise expenditure of the money. So
Okay.
I know it's a joke.